An electric eel does not shock its prey the way you think it does. The discharge is not there to cause pain or damage. It is there to override the prey's motor control. The eel sends a specific electrical pulse through the water. That pulse reaches the prey's muscles and those muscles contract. All of them at once, involuntarily. The prey is not being hurt into submission. Its body is being operated remotely. You are not watching a weapon. You are watching a hijacking. And the anatomy that makes it possible is not what you would expect. The body shape that everyone notices is not just an adaptation for swimming. It is a consequence of the electrical system inside. Approximately 80% of the body volume is dedicated to 3 specialized electric organs: the main organ, the hunter's organ, and the sacs organ, all stacked along the tail, which makes up most of the animal's length. These organs are packed with electrocytes. Cells that were once muscle cells lost the ability to contract and became biological capacitors instead. Each one generates a small fraction of a volt. Stacked in series, thousands of them, they add up. The species Electrophorus voltae, described only recently from highland regions of Brazil, produces discharges up to 860 volts, the highest recorded from any living animal. The more familiar Electrophorus electricus produces around 600 volts at roughly 1 ampere, about 600 watts released in a single pulse. The vital organs, the heart, gills, and digestive tract, are compressed into the front 20% of the body, as far from the electrical output as anatomy allows. That electrical output is not one system. It is 2, operating independently for different purposes. The sacs organ produces low-voltage pulses of about 10 volts continuously, at around 25 times per second. This is not an attack. It is a sensory signal. The animal broadcasts a weak electrical field into the water and reads the distortions that return, the way conductivity differs between a rock, a fish, and open water. This is active electrolocation, and it functions in complete darkness, in turbid floodwater, buried in leaf litter, anywhere vision fails entirely. The effective range is short, roughly 1 body length, but within that range the animal has a continuous, high-resolution map of everything around it. What kind of animal runs a dedicated sensing system alongside a completely separate high-power system held in reserve? One that hunts this way. When the sensory system identifies prey, the electric eel switches modes. It fires high-voltage doublets, pairs of rapid pulses delivered in close succession, at a rate of around 400 times per second. What those pulses do inside the prey animal is specific and brutal. Every skeletal muscle fires simultaneously and locks. The prey cannot move voluntarily. It is not pain, and it is not paralysis in the conventional sense. It is tetanic contraction, a full-body seizure imposed from outside, and it works at up to 1 meter of distance through water without contact. The eel does not need to bite, chase, or hold anything. It sends a signal, and the prey's own nervous system executes it. Researcher Kenneth Catania at Vanderbilt University demonstrated this experimentally, showing that the contraction pattern in prey animals matches precisely what would result from direct motor neuron stimulation. The eel is not shocking the prey, it is driving it. Subscribe if you have not yet, because what comes next changes what all of that means. The hunting sequence has structure. First, a low-frequency volley causes the prey to twitch involuntarily. This reveals a fish hiding in the mud or leaf litter without the eel having to search physically. Then a sustained high-frequency volley paralyzes it for consumption. When prey is detected in open water, some individuals use a different tactic. They curl the body into a C shape, positioning the head and the tail on either side of the prey. The head is the positive pole. The tail is the negative. Placing both poles around the target doubles the effective voltage delivered through its body. The curl is not accidental movement. It is the animal using its own geometry as a circuit design, actively reshaping the electrical field to maximize power delivery through a specific target. The eel is not just controlling the intensity of the discharge, it is controlling the shape of it. For a long time, none of that was considered a collective behavior. Electric eels were documented as solitary predators. In 2021, researchers observing Electrophorus voltae in the Iriri River in Brazil watched something that had never been recorded. Groups of over 100 individuals herded schools of small fish toward the surface, compressing them into tight balls. Then the group broke into coordinated squads of 10 to 12 eels that fired synchronized high-voltage volleys directly into the ball. The electrical fields from multiple animals overlapped. The prey received amplified, simultaneous discharges from multiple directions at once with no escape vector. Hundreds of fish immobilized in a single coordinated pulse. How the individual eels avoid being stunned by the discharges of others is not yet understood. That mechanism is genuinely still open, and researchers have not closed it. Everything described before this moment was the profile of a solitary predator with an unusually sophisticated individual weapon. The weapon is also a collective tool. A group of electric eels can override the nervous systems of an entire school of fish simultaneously, using nothing but coordinated electrical signals broadcast through open water. What you are actually looking at when you watch that footage is not an animal shocking things. It is an animal issuing neurological commands to other animals' bodies and having those bodies obey. Not through strength, not through venom, not through pursuit, through signal. The electric eel did not evolve a more powerful version of a common defense. It evolved a different category of predation entirely. There is something worth sitting with in an animal that does not need to overpower its prey, only to send the right signal and wait for the body to comply. Thanks for watching. If this was worth your time, hit like, it genuinely helps, and click the video on screen right now.